I've spent quite a bit of time today working on the red T-Rex Styrofoam drawing. Today, primarily starting in the afternoon, although I did some of the work during the first hours of today. First, I worked on the outline of the T-Rex. And then for the next step, I did the background, intending to be the ground with a sunny sky above it in the background. And these are meant to be distant clouds, because a closer cloud I would have to depict with essentially a blank space with a black Sharpie outline, and I didn't feel like this drawing should have any negative space or blank space when it's completed. Yeah, Dad liked seeing it. These are all the Sharpie markers I've used so far. And this is part of the pizza that he got from Salvatore's. I assume this is for the beets he put on the side. From a container of beets from the Love Beets brand. Today was Salvatore's $10 large pizza special. So Dad ended up getting 2 pizzas. This is a slice from his. For his, he decided to get pepperoni and black olives. For mine, I initially said that I wanted bacon and ham, but for mine, Dad ended up getting pepperoni and bacon. And presumably because you can just put ham on a pizza at home. Essentially, here's how things look currently for my city in Alvenar. I used ancient knowledge packs in order to finish the research on this ancient wonder, in the hope that leveling it up will result in it giving more broken shards in the future. Within the first hours of today, I placed down the latest Goddess of Wishes building and Ferris Wheel Galore buildings that I got as part of my rewards for my efforts in the previous episodic event. What's upcoming is actually a round of the Fellowship Adventures. Since I'm part of an actual fellowship now, I should hopefully be able to get some great rewards from the upcoming Fellowship Adventures. Since I'm no longer the one who essentially pulls all the weight within the Fellowship. One thing to note is that I take this brown Sharpie marker and then I use this Sharpie marker in order to essentially get a darker shade of brown. Basically, where this darkened brown outline, that's where the original foot outline was, but I'm essentially correcting the feet after carving out the toes with a black Sharpie marker. Essentially, I'm making depressions within the ground, muddy depressions, in order to correct the foot outlines. As for the game Sword Fight, I now have an established gear preset where, after mastering everything else, for the stat bonuses I get, for each sword, shield, and armor, I get to a familiarity level of 60. Those bonuses come from core familiarity. I'm going to settle on the Koplesh sword since it gives both attack and defense as its familiarity bonuses. For my shield, I'm going to settle on the Garon. It gives plenty of defense, as well as an additional defensive bonus to cutting swords. As it turns out, which for now is most swords, with only the side sword and the rapier being thrusting swords. Though the Koplesh, the one I've chosen to be my default, is the most primarily cutting sword. And for my armor, I'm going to settle on the Briganine, since it's one of those armor types, one of the armor sets that gives me an additional health segment as its novice familiarity bonus, then gives me more health, and more importantly gives me stamina, reduces the damage I take from cut attacks, which again for now in the game, is most swords. All of these combine to make my character effective against most of the fighters within Area 2. My current Disciple run is currently at level 233. In regards to the idling aspect of the game, I used to have some difficulty in the late afternoon / early evening period, but now at 10:40 p.m., due to manually avoiding Guardians and Templars, who previously would result in battles going on way too long. By selecting to go down a training level and then selecting to go up a training level, you can manually choose your opponents, essentially. As long as it's not a Templar or a Guardian, I could defeat them somewhat easily. But now, after going up some training levels, a Templar and a Guardian can relatively quickly result in the battle in a loss, either through death or this new surrender animation. I'm not entirely sure what brings about the surrender. For my player character, I originally saw it as part of the nobility lineage. The surrender tactic is a golden branching skill that you can get under the Choose Opponent tab within the noble lineage, skills. But I haven't unlocked the surrender tactic and don't currently plan on doing so. I don't really see any need for it. But at some point today I did unlock both fighting and mastery skill resets as part of... Oh yeah, it's the first tab within the religious lineage skills. And a fighting skill reset can be useful for essentially gaining skill points. Fighting skill points. It all has to do with the fact that researching fighting skill scrolls results in you being able to level up fighting skills for just one skill point. What you do after you've leveled up certain skills, if they were either bronze or silver, which respectively means that leveling up the skill costed either 3 or 2 skill points, you get levels in the fighting scrolls. You reset your fighting skills, and then ultimately you get savings on fighting skill points, which you can then use towards bronze fighting skills. Bronze fighting skills, which is what you have to do if you want to increase the maximum level of different fighting skills. Something useful so that you can more quickly get awards and thus their respective bonuses in cases where such awards require you to reach X level of certain fighting skills, such as the upcoming Disarm Award, the Advanced Technique Award, Zealot Strength, Nomad's Endurance, and Nobleman's Cunning. Which are bound to all provide good bonuses that are all better than nothing, at least. To my player character. In the early to mid-afternoon, I considered doing a Roughman gameplay for the first time in nearly 2 months. I was going to do the game Eyes on the Road, but it turns out that the game doesn't work. I have no idea what's causing the problem. All I know is that it both fails to work on my live Microsoft Edge and on my portable Google Chrome browser with Flash installed on it. With the game Eyes on the Road turning out to not work, with me mysteriously being unable to access the web pages containing the older Rough Ruffman Flash-based games, and with the modern Rough Ruffman games seeming to be likely to be kid restricted by YouTube. I ultimately decided to put off doing another Rough Ruffman gameplay for tomorrow. Because I wasn't sure exactly what to do. I believe there was a point in which, around that time, I ended up briefly falling asleep on my bed here before Dad woke me up around 3:30 p.m. by calling me on my phone while he was at work as a mailman. One of the pieces of pizza earlier, I had that pizza around 8 p.m. shortly after he got back from going to Salvatore's after work and having some glasses of beer. Technically, in some areas, they're called pints of beer, but the glasses of beer are bigger than pints, so it isn't really appropriate to call them pints of beers. It's more appropriate to call them glasses of beer, in my opinion. One of the pieces of pizza I had around 8 p.m. in the picture was part of 2 slices of pizza that someone gave my dad because they didn't want them. Apparently, it was part of a pizza with barbecue sauce, roasted peppers, and some other stuff. I believe Dad said one of the other ingredients were onion. Either way, that mystery slice of pizza ended up being pretty good. I've got quite a few supplies and coins at the moment. This is where I am on the research tree. What's holding me back from advancing is currently mana. Hence, part of my efforts have involved getting new cultural buildings that produce mana, though that's not the only side to it. It's also a matter of getting culture and thus ensuring I can be at the 170% culture bonus without being dependent on neighborly help. even though the game generally considers at that point you having too many cultural buildings. Hey, I've only just noticed that I have this expired Ferris wheel galore building. Which means I can now move this one here and basically save the space. Oh, I accidentally... I could try moving the campus down one space. Thing is, I don't know if that would really make a difference, since the Wisdom Square is supposed to be directly connected to the campus, and all of the facilities have to be connected directly to the campus. I can't just connect everything with some kind of special pathways like I did for the previous chapters. Yeah, I ended up declining some side quests to get to this point, since they involved essentially abandoning what I've been doing for my residences and workshops. But maybe the current approach is being hugely inefficient. Yeah, I'm gonna genuinely try to complete this. Yeah, but I may very well end up having to decline it. I've got some time to ultimately complete it, though, before I have to decline it in order to be able to move on to the Halflings chapter. Yeah, which is when the mechanism or mechanic, of divine seeds will be introduced to my city.